and thanks for tuning in. Today we're at Fox Raceway for the 2025 Honda CRF250R introduction. Now this bike, it has a long history of going back and forth from one extreme to the other. At one time it was a low-end motor, then it was a screamer, now it's a low-end motor again. That's been the case for a couple of years, and that's fine. The big issue for most riders was stability. And to address that, for 2025, Honda gave us pretty much a completely new frame and bodywork. 70% of the actual frame members have been altered in some way or another, and contrary to what you might think, the frame is actually more rigid than it once was. Trey Kennard was one of the test riders involved with the project, and he said they kept on going a little bit less rigid to make it more comfortable and give it a little bit less of that nervous feel. It turned out that was the wrong direction to go. He said that once they started turning that around and actually adding more rigidity, the frame settled down. The handling calmed down. It was a lot better. Same thing up with the fork. The triple clamp is a little more rigid. The front axle, a little more rigid. They've gone through the whole frame and tried to make it kind of a uniform level of rigidity from front to back. The subframe actually even mounts in a different spot so that when the rider hits the back of the bike in the air or something like that, it doesn't transfer the weight all the way forward. It stays kind of in the rear end. We've seen a lot of that type of design thinking from other sources in the motorcycle world. KTM last year was big on trying to isolate parts of the motorcycle and how they reacted to input. As far as the motor goes, well, it's not a lot different. It has new mapping for 2025, and that's geared at kind of giving it a little more over rev, and the air box is completely different. It flows quite a bit more air now. So we have Sean Lepinovich out here today. He has a little bit of time on the 2024 model, which we've had in the test fleet for some time now. Jared Hicks also has a lot of time on that bike. We're going to figure out exactly how this bike compares to the old one. Okay, now we've spent one day on the 2025 CRF250R. Sean Lipinovich has been putting it through its paces here at Fox Raceway, and he's pretty pumped on it right now. It didn't start off that way. At first he went out there and he felt it was a little stink buggy, like the rear end was a little high and the front end a little low, and he said that gave it a little more instability. He's thinking, oh no, we're going through this deal again. Turned out that just by sliding the fork down in the clamps, 3 millimeters, made a world of difference for him. Now he says he has a lot more confidence coming out of turns, going through the rough stuff. Doesn't it all feel like the previous Honda? He says it's still a big low-end motor. This isn't the type of bike that you can over-rev and expect to kind of recover on its own. You get up into those high rev ranges, it misses and sputters a little bit. It's best to short shift it a little bit. I know that's not what you normally do with a 250F, but on this bike it seems to work. Honda also kept the bike fairly light. We haven't actually got this bike back to the shop to weigh, but we know that it's pretty much the lightest bike in the class. Still, one of the things that contributes to that is the Pirelli tires, which are a little bit lighter than most, but we feel the Honda gives away a little bit of performance edge in the tire department. It's nothing that is gonna be permanent, because pretty much after a race or two, you'll be able to go to any brand of tires you want, and the Pirellis really aren't that bad, but here in the Southern California mix of clay and loam, they give away just a little bit of an edge. We also love the way the bike feels. We've always liked that about Hondas. This year, the new bodywork makes it even smoother. When you scoot forward, your knees don't fall into holes and kind of catch on anything. It's almost as if the bike is one clean piece of plastic from front to rear. We will say that the overall look of the bike is a little controversial. We've heard it referred to as kind of a vintage look. We don't think that that's what Honda was going for, but beauty is always in the eye of the beholder, and frankly, you can't go wrong with red. Honda's always known that secret. So we're gonna keep riding this bike. We'll have it for a few months. If you check in with us at dirtbikemagazine.com, you'll see all of our updates, and we'll have a full test on the bike coming up in the print edition of Dirt Bike Magazine for the September issue. Check us out. Look for us on social media, which means Instagram for the most part, also Facebook and Twitter. Come back to YouTube and be sure and click that subscribe button. Thanks a lot.